This is Frank Islam, Chairman and CEO of FI Investment Group and your host of Washington Current Review, where we interview leading voices from business and politics and back to you, the viewer. Today, our guest is Mr. Pramvir Soni. Mr. Singh, thank you very much for coming. I appreciated that very much and taking the time to come over here, especially this morning. Tell me a little bit about yourself. What's your occupation?
Currently, I'm Chief Architect at EPA, Environmental Protection Agency.
Right here in D.C.?
Right in D.C., yeah.
And what exactly that job entails?
So the job is, I work very closely with the Chief Information Officer of the agency and the CTO. My role is to look at all the IT investments which an agency makes in support of our mission. EPA does enforcement, compliance, regulations for Clean Air Act, Clean Water Act. So I'm responsible for all the IT portfolio which supports these mission systems and all other systems. So in addition, I have develop a roadmap for the next 3 years where we are spending the money and how we need to spend.
Are we spending our money wisely in EPA as far as the IT is concerned? What's your thoughts on that?
I believe so. We can always do better.
What's the budget for the IT in the EPA?
We have around 400 million.
Per year?
Yes.
So it's very small compared to DOD.
Oh, yes.
Which is in billions and billions.
Yes,
right.
It's very small compared to...
This is fairly significant. That's per year.
Yes, it is.
And that's mostly comprises the outsourcing part of that, the in-house, the combination of both?
It's both. We have, we also do what's called a working capital fund where we provide services to other programs within the agency. So includes the infrastructure, the applications, and also, this fund. So
what's the role and responsibilities? I understand, and correct me if I'm wrong, this is a very unique position in the EPA, for that matter, in the federal agency, the position that you have.
Yes, as you know, there are 22 major agencies, so there's one chief architect at each agency. So we have 22 in the federal government. So it's a big responsibility, but very challenging, very exciting.
How do you see the future in terms of the data center thing that the Vivek was working on? He was a CIO. And how is it going? And I know Nish Chopra was involved in some when he was a CTO at the federal government, worked for president. How that is going in terms of the data center aspect that they, and I know you have a lot of data center in the EPA also.
Yeah, we actually had data centers, quite a few. We have consolidated into 4 data centers.
Okay, that's what I was wanted to know.
Yeah, we have done consolidation.
So is it more effective now, cost effective?
Yeah, actually we have moved, Vivek focused on the data center, and the new CIO, Scott Van Ronkel, is focusing more on the cloud. So we are moving a lot of our application systems to cloud. So a lot of agencies have facing the challenge that do we support our own data center, or should we go to a cloud like an Amazon cloud or other clouds? So we have a plan of how in the next 3 years how we will move to cloud. It's a challenging. It's not as easy as it seems. Because there are many systems that talk to each other. It's not just one system. You move from one place to the other. So,
and consider the security for the United States government, which has to be involved as well, because the fact that you just don't want to outsource it to someone else, right?
Yes. I mean, they have, the cloud providers have a
lot of security built in.
You have security built in now, but you're right, because there's always what's called a trusted connection.
Right.
So, so we'll have to comply with that too, so that we don't compromise the security.
And how long have you been working for EPA, and for that matter, for the federal government?
Actually, I just joined the government a little more than 3 years ago.
Also, so you are a newcomer to the government?
Yeah, fairly newcomer. It will be 4 years in June.
So what did you do before?
Before that, I was in the private industry.
Doing what? Running a company or?
Yes, just before I joined, actually, I was the president of a small IT company where we started with consulting, but then we moved to software applications. We developed a couple of software applications and we sold them and then moved on to a larger company.
Sold it, okay. So you made a little bit of money, which is good. What made you to go work for the government? A lot of people don't want to work for the government, which is unfortunate, but you want to serve our country, which is a wonderful thing to do.
Yeah, I'd say
What made you to leave from private, enterprise to the government?
I think one of the big
Driver
for me was the work-life balance.
Okay.
So after a certain time, we need to have that balance. In the private industry, as you know very well, the life is always on the go, and I just wanted to, I don't know, maybe I'll go back to the private industry, but for now I'm enjoying it.
You're enjoying your work. You're
Absolutely.
contributing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And your company that you sold was very small,
It's
IT
a small
company.
company, yeah.
Okay. And you owned it and
Yes.
and you founded it?
Yes.
Well, thank you very much for your leadership and giving back to our country by working for the federal government is such a major challenge. A great thing to do. We welcome the opportunity.
Yes, and you kind of do the same thing. You kind of on the other side, but the satisfaction you get is immense. A lot of things you can contribute to. Like any big organization, there are challenges, but I think if we work through them, it's very rewarding.
Do you serve on any other boards, professionals, affiliations, and also what kind of hobbies do you have and interests do you have beside work?
Yeah, I'm on the board for this organization called AFFIRM, Association of Federal Information Resource Management.
Okay, yeah, I heard of that.
It's a private, and I'm the secretary. I'm on the board for the last 2 years.
And what does this organization do?
We organize a lot of programs where we invite industry and the government to talk of topics, and the money which we get, it's a non-profit. We actually fund education to George Mason, to University of Maryland, to Harvard. Like last year, we gave a grant of $25,000 to encourage students to work for the federal government, actually.
That's a wonderful thing to do, to plant the seed.
Yes.
And especially when they're a student, to serve our country and also serve, work for the federal government. So so you said you gave money to George Mason as well as University of Maryland and the Harvard University. What about the private institution like there's an American university here, there's a George Washington University here, there's all kinds of universities.
Yeah, there are a lot of them, I think.
So they have to apply for it in order for them to get the grant?
Yes, they have to apply for that, and we just, as our the revenue stream goes up, we will look for more opportunity, look for other agents, other universities to focus on, but right now we have done, for these.
I understand you're getting an award, which is pretty exciting. To tell me a little bit about this Fed 100 winner that you are, and you're getting it today?
Yes, this evening.
Oh wow! That's pretty exciting. Tell me a little bit about what this award is and what the selection process is, and you should be proud of. Your family should be proud of. All of us in the audience are proud of it. Just tell me a little bit about this award, and when and where and how, and this happened.
Okay.
When means you're getting an award today.
Today, yes.
And where is this?
It's in the Washington Hilton.
Washington Hilton, which is a pretty big place, so there'll be a lot of people there?
Yes.
Okay, so how were you selected for this award?
Okay, it's called the Fed 100, so every year they nominate people, 100 people within the government and the industry.
So it's a combination of both?
Combination of both, who have made outstanding contribution working with the government to support, as in the private industry or in the government. So the nomination is by your senior most person, like in our agency, the CIO nominates you, and then there are 3 or 4 other nominations you have to get, like I got from 3 or 4 other agencies.
So it's a competitive process?
It's a competitive process, yes.
And there's no monetary award that goes with this?
There's no monetary award.
You're getting one of those plaque?
Yes, yes.
And a dinner?
Yes.
And a recognition?
Yes.
And an award?
Yes.
Okay, that's wonderful. As I understand, you also get involved with the professional conferences and being a panel speaker. So tell me a little bit about your experience, what's your role, and what kind of panel do you get involved?
I get invited to a lot of events, like the Federal Computer Week has events, the DGI, the Digital Government Institute, has event. So in the last year, both of them I attended as a panel speaker. So there are different topics.
What kind of a topic do you speak on?
Like the last one was on cloud computing.
And the cloud computing.
Before that is innovation in government.
What do you think the innovation is in the government is going and what's going to happen? Innovation is very important for this country. Our country was founded on innovation.
I think innovation is something which we can always do more. We haven't focused on it as much as maybe we should. But in the last couple of years, a lot of in the government, there have been what we call as challenge.gov. These are different, we go outside within the government and the industry asking them for applications or thoughts and ideas. So if someone, like in our case, they want to use the environmental data to do something, or they want to use forest data to do something working with interior. So, and we give them some money to come up with this idea and kind of an incubator.
How do you encourage people to get engaged in innovativeness? Because this country is a very much an innovation, and it leads in innovations. As a matter of fact, this country was founded because of innovation. If you think about it, go back to 1632.
Yeah, I think if we, I guess as I said, if we encourage people and if we have ideas, give them a mechanism, give them a platform to take it to the next level.
So give them the oxygen to breathe and give them this, and give them also. Do you also reward them, recognize them?
Yes.
And how do you go about doing that?
Well, these are awards we give them, and then based on what their innovation is, we encourage them to, work with us to develop the solution or bigger or a better process what they're focusing on.
Is that a part of their performance appraisal process in the United States government, that you have to be engaged in innovations? And is that something as a part of the performance evaluation process?
It's not right now, but
it should be.
It should be. It's a good point. Yeah, it should be.
People should be recognized and rewarded for their talent, and people should be encouraged for innovations. And I think a lot of things came in this country because of innovation, because people wanted to do something new, something exciting, something that can help the humanity as well as to help our country.
Yep. Yeah. I mean, that's why you see in Silicon Valley there's a lot of innovation, because there is a lot of opportunities. Somehow on the East Coast and also with the government, the structure is not set up, but it's changing. We have made some progress in the last
So you see the brighter horizon?
Absolutely so.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if I talk to you 5 years from now, when you come back, what would you be doing in the EPA? And what would you be doing in your life?
If I'm still with EPA, I'll be the Chief Information Officer.
Okay, that's a good goal, and you should be, and I hope you do get that job. That's a wonderful opportunity for you to become Chief Information Officer of the EPA. So that's your next step in 5 years. Within 5 years, that's your goal. What about serving the community in the country by giving, by sharing back, and doing some philanthropic things? Have you thought about that?
Yeah, I mean, I think by serving for the government, actually, I am giving back. I look at it that way. As I said, I'm engaged with this organization called the Firm, and there's some other organizations I'm engaged with, which actually helps educate people who want to go to a technical engineering profession in India and Punjab.
Okay.
So I support one child every year.
So by giving them a scholarship program so they can go to school?
Yes.
And I mean, that's a wonderful thing to do, to creating the next generation, because they have enormous responsibility on their shoulder. So that's one thing you do, and that has to be in Indian and has to be in Punjab? For time being, that's what you have?
Yeah, it's an organization which does a lot of work. Actually, it's based in Washington, D.C.
Okay, so you give money to the organizations,
yes,
and you tell them in terms of support. What do you think the future holds as far as the Sikh community is concerned in the United States, in terms of the because they kind of stand out in the crowd and everything else, which is, there's nothing wrong with that, and you believe in your faith, and this country has always stood for religious freedom. This is how our country was founded. So what do you do to make sure that the whole stuff about the Sikh communities and so on and so forth, and the perception is the perception, sometimes it becomes a reality. So how do you get engaged to the next generation so they kind of cherish it and nourish and nurture their traditions, and that's important to them. So how do you create this next generation, and how do you make sure that the people understand that this Sikh faith is very important and you follow this faith and so on and so forth? Give me a little bit of your outlook on this thing. I know you're an IT person, but I want you to tell us, the audience, a little bit about
Sure, absolutely.
a little bit about your passion and commitment in this area.
Absolutely. I think for any minority, and Sikhs are a minority in this country, we have to be engaged.
Politically?
We have to be engaged politically. We have to be engaged
in the community.
In the community. So, and the best way to do that is to look for opportunities where you are visible, and you can take, whether it's through philanthropy or it's engaging on events. So, on my personal level, I go to a lot of events. I think when people see you, that you are capable, then the color or the skin or ethnicity is kind of goes behind. People don't pay attention to that. When that is the only focus, then people look at.
Well, that's the best part about America, is inclusiveness and openness.
Absolutely.
And giving opportunity to the people and exploit their fullest potential, and also allows you to the best you can be.
Yeah, it's a great country for.
And there's not too many countries that subscribe to this nation. Absolutely. This is the best when it comes to that and that kind of a thing. As for the next generation is concerned, now that you do that for the Sikh community, and you talk a little bit about this, that there's no monopoly in wisdom, and you should do well to remember that there's no religion, no race, no country, no civilization has a monopoly in wisdom, which is a true statement, which is what you said. What about exciting, energizing, and creating the next generations? And I know you're doing that in Punjab with the students. What about some more things? I mean, that's very important to create the next generations.
Yeah, I think, education is a big factor.
Education empowers people. Education is a powerful equalizer, and education gives them respect and dignity, and education also creates wealth and builds prosperity. So doing what you're doing is that. What about doing some over here in this country?
I think there are a lot of ways one can do that. Is your question more on the Indian?
And they're trying to mentor the next generations, so they can see you, that you have attained and achieved your goal, so they can attain and achieve their goals in terms of mentoring them, helping them to go to school, especially if they have financial hardship. That's the point I'm asking.
Yes, yeah. I think we need, one of the things we can do as a community here, it doesn't matter whether a Hindu, Muslim or Sikh,
right,
is have a community outreach.
That's a good way to put it.
Within our community, and engage them, provide them, see what their challenges are. And as I said, I'm a big believer in education.
Yes, so am I.
And
I want people to learn the lessons from you and to your story, so that the new generation say, I could be CIO at EPA as well. That's what you're trying to. That's your goal is. Thank you very much for coming,
Thanks,
Mr.
Frank.
Singh, and appreciated your time. And that is our show. This is Frank Islam, Chairman and CEO of FI Investment Group, wishing you a great week. And thank you for watching.